beautiful souls. Welcome to Earth Angel Tarot. And in today's Isis Unveil reading, we will be taking a look at what are your subconscious blockages. Okay. And so these are the three images for the reading. Go ahead, take a look, see which one resonates with you the most, see which one calls out to you the most. And whichever image that is, that will be the pile that will have messages in it for you. All right, my loves. So happy picking. Hello to those of you who chose pile number one. So this is the image that you all chose. All right, and so now we're going to jump right into the reading and see what are your subconscious blockages, okay? Things that are subconsciously standing in your way. All right, so we'll start with the oracle and then I'll go ahead and pull some tarot a little bit later. All right, and so your first card is, what are the things I feel unworthy of having or experiencing? All right. What are the things I feel unworthy of having or experiencing? All right. So, what's coming through with this pile number one is that I feel like a lot of you guys have worked hard for what you have, but there's still a part of you that feels like it's not enough or that you're not deserving of the good things that has been bestowed upon you. All right. And this could stem from, I'm getting childhood energies, right? A lot of you maybe did not have a lot growing up. Okay, more so speaking materialistically, so you've kind of paved the way for yourself. Okay, you've paved the way for yourself to be in this successful place that you're in now, where you worked your way up, you've built your way up to the things for you to receive the things or to be able to get the things that you desire that you were not able to as a child, right? But there's still this feeling that you're not deserving of these things, right? And this also could have been what's coming through is this also could have been that this was something that was instilled in you as a child, right? And this is why I'm picking up childhood energies. So you could have had very belittling parents or caretakers or caregivers, right? Someone that maybe talked down to you, okay, who told you that you wouldn't amount to anything or that your dreams were impossible, right? So they kind of, that if you grew up in those type of situations or circumstances, those words have subconsciously stuck with you, right? So now when you do receive or get something good, you almost feel as if you shouldn't have it or that you don't deserve it, right? So yeah, very, very strong like childhood energy coming through. Some of you did not have supportive parents, okay? Some of you did not have a supportive upbringing, okay? And like I was just saying a bit ago, you may have been talked down to a lot, all right? Making you feel unworthy, okay? But the good thing is that I feel is that you guys obviously, I feel like, pulled yourself out of that energy and for the most part made something of yourself or showed yourself that things that you were denied or things that you told, things that were told to you that were impossible, you have um, shifted that perspective around. Okay, so you are, I do feel like you are someone who has been successful in achieving your goals or doing the things that you want to do, but there's still this lingering of those childhood traumas, right? And I call them traumas because traumas doesn't always have to fit the typical definition of a trauma, is in a sense of it being something that was physical. Trauma can also be emotional abuse, right? So you guys are, there's this lingering of subconscious feelings of you not being deserving, okay? Being deserving of the things that you have worked so hard for to build for yourself. All right. And so this is what you need to bring to the surface with this brain, with this being a subconscious blockages reading. This is something that you need to acknowledge. Okay. Going back to um, going back to the core, all right, and seeing where this is stemming from. Okay. And as I like to say, acknowledging and releasing those things. Okay. What do you have in your life right now that you feel that you shouldn't have or that you shouldn't be experiencing? And why is that? All right. But it is on a subconscious level. But the more you bring it to the surface, the more you'll be able to understand the full dynamic of certain behavior patterns about yourself that you may have. Okay. Someone who's afraid to shine. Okay. It's also what's coming through because you feel like you don't have it in you. I mean, okay. So you do know that you are capable, more than capable of being a outstanding person, right? But something in you holds you back, and that something that's holding you back is the wounded inner child. Okay, it's what I'm getting, and so there needs to be light around this pal number one, for you to address. Okay, address those things that are subconsciously still a part of you so that you can release that. Okay, and what that looks like is you acknowledging that you were able, okay, you were able to become everything that you may have been told that you were not going to be able to. All right. And so this is you taking back ownership of that energy and seeing that you have overcome, okay, those things that were instilled in you as a child, or those things that were said to you as a child, right? And showing that you were able to prove that person or situation or that energy wrong, right? And being able to stand strongly in the energy that you possess now, which I feel like is a successful energy. All right. So taking full ownership of that so that you can understand that everything that you have, it is because you were more than capable and because you worked hard for that. All right. And so you guys have plain dumb. Okay. And the message is you act like you don't know what's going on. All right. And it says, you know the truth and it's time to share it. Yes. And I feel like this is you guys like dumbing yourself down because that's what others have instilled in you, and that's what others expect from you, right? So others, and I really feel like this is a family dynamic. Okay, I really feel like this is a family dynamic stemming from the inner child. So no, there were never high expectations set for you, right? So you may have been um afraid to show your true capabilities because you didn't want to outshine someone else growing up, right? So maybe you come from a family with siblings, and there was this one sibling who was put on a pedestal, right? And so you were kind of forced, even though you may have been smarter than that sibling, you were kind of forced to kind of dumb yourself down and let that sibling have the spotlight because that was the expectations around the family, right? Maybe this could have been a better looking sibling, right? And so even though appearance wise, the sibling would have been like the token child, right? This sibling could also not have been the smartest of the bunch, right? But no one really cared because they had a very appealing physical appearance, okay, outwardly appearance. And so that I feel like for whoever this is resonating with, that took away from your ability to showcase your talents in a way where you probably were the smart child, right? You probably knew a lot, but no one ever paid any attention to it, or no one ever even gave you um, the acknowledgement because they were so focused on the other sibling. Okay, so you've kind of, I feel like that energy boxed you in, that dynamic boxed you in to the point to now where you're just subconsciously comfortable would stand out of the way, right? Subconsciously stand out of the way, because that may have been the scenario for you growing up. You were just expected to stay out of the way. And so now, okay, now you play dumb. You play as if you don't know as much as you know. You play as if you're not as smart as you are, right? Because you're used to being in the shadows, all right? And this will explain why the good things that you have, you don't feel worthy of them, right? You don't feel worthy of them because of you always having to be in the background. Okay, so you may have been the one who received uh you receive you let's just say you were like at the bottom of the totem pole, right? So now that you're doing better for yourself, you're like, man, I'm so used to being at the top bottom of the totem bottom of the totem pole. Am I deserving to be here where I'm at now? But this is all subconscious. Okay. This is all subconscious for you, pal, number one. And so this is where you need to speak your truth. Okay. You need to speak and share your truth. You know what it is, and it's time to share it. Okay. It's time for you to put, even if others were not doing it, then it is time for you to do it now. Put yourself on a pedestal, right? Showcase who you've always been, but your light was dimmed, right? Because the attention was never put on you, right? Intentionally. All right. So now it's time for you to acknowledge the truth about who you are as a person, okay, and all of the wonderful and positive attributes that you have about yourself. All right. And then you have hypnotize, okay? And it says you allow yourself to be under someone's spell, okay? Break free of this toxic attraction to them. Yes. And I feel like this is just, I'm really getting a strong family dynamic with this, right? I'm really getting a strong family dynamic to this. And so I feel like uh, now there's the energy of the parents in this scenario, right? So you may still be in situations where you are succumbing to what the expectations are of you from your parents. I feel like some of you still have parents that may try to belittle you, right? And may still try to take away your worth from you, right? And so what's also coming through now is that this is because your parents are broken. Okay, your parents were broken. Okay, they never had the love and support themselves growing up, and so they never knew how to instill that love and support to um, their children. But I am getting also there is a token child somewhere in this. Okay, there's a token child somewhere in this where you there was a comparison being done. Okay, so for whoever this resonates with, there was a comparison being done between yourself and the token child. Okay, and your parents till this day may still hold that other child on a higher pedestal. Okay, and you're hypnotized by this behavior because you've been going through it for so long. Like, this is why I was saying the childhood energy was coming through. You've been going through this behavior for so long that you've become numb to it, right? You become numb to it because you're as the card says, you're hypnotized into it. Okay, so it's like as the card is also saying, you're allowing yourself to be, okay, under the circumstantial um, spell by not breaking free from that box that you were placed in since very early on, okay, since very early on in age, right? So you succumb to the expectations of others for you, right? And you kind of move and live according to how they expect you to. Okay, and this is why it's saying it's time to break free. Like that box, like I was saying, it's time for you to break free. Okay, break free from this box that you've been placed in. Like they boxed you in and kind of made you, feel as what they were, you know, what they boxed you in and made you feel that you were nothing more than what they told you you were. All right. So it's time to break free of this toxic, okay, toxic connection, okay. And family or not, sometimes we have to understand and set our boundaries, okay. And this is what you're being called to do. You're being called to understand and set your boundaries around this, all right. And then you have don't water any one-sided relationships. Allow them to dry out. Look, yes, look at the separation here from this picture, right? And I just got family picture here. So definitely show family dynamic, as I was saying. But look how it is torn, okay? The picture is ripped apart, okay, causing this separation, all right? You can't allow yourself to be loved from one side. Okay, you can't allow yourself to be in situations where there's only love coming from one side. And I feel like the love is you loving these people, whoever this is in the situation, because obviously they're family, right? So you feel like um, it is okay for you to um, take this emotional abuse, okay, that they may be putting out there, because it's kind of almost, since it's been going on for so long, since childhood, it's been ingrained in you that, you know, this is just part of what your family dynamic is. And so you've kind of made that acceptance around it. But no, you don't have to water any one-sided relationships. If these relationships are not going to put out as much love and effort and understanding as you are, then it's time for you to water your own growth. Okay, it's time for you to water your own growth and recognize who you are, okay, according to your own standards. All right. And then you have, you'll never be placed in a storm you can't navigate yourself out of. The universe doesn't want you to break down, it wants you to break free. Yes, oh my gosh. So there's two cards from two different decks, okay? That is calling for you to break free. All right, so we have break free right here, and then we also have break free here on this card as well. And what I'm getting is that it is time for you all to break free from the energy. Okay, break free from the energy more so than anything else. So it's not to say for you to um what's the word that I'm looking for, like exile, or, you know, I guess that would be, it's not to say for you to blacklist or exile from your family, but it is asking for you to break free from that energy. Okay, break free from the energy. All right, distance yourself, learn to love on and nurture yourself, learn to stand in your power. Okay, because with this playing dumb card here, I feel like you have been succumbing to their energy for a very long time. Okay, and you've been hypnotized by it because it's a part of who you are. It's been ingrained in you because you've been experiencing this since childhood. All right, and so this is why you're not feeling worthy of good things when they happen to you, because you feel as if those things shouldn't be happening to you. You feel as if you're not deserving of those good things. And so this is why it's time for you to say, you know what, forget that. I am no longer hiding, okay, who I am. Okay, I'm going to show them who I've been this whole time, and that who they've been ignoring this whole time or pushing off to the side this whole time. It's time for you to create and stand in your own spotlight. All right. That's what it's calling for you to do. Stand, create, and stand in your own spotlight. All right. Look at this, guys. We have the insecure shadow card popping up, which is very fitting for this. All right, very fitting for this reading. Okay, and it says lacking self confidence or assurance, fragile, need reassurance, feel inadequate. All right. And the message at the bottom is everything you need is within you and and I'm sorry, everything you need is within you and can handle whatever the world throws your way. Yes, you are more than worthy. You are more than capable. It's time for you to break out of that energy, okay, that has been surrounding you. I'm getting for most of your life. It's time for you to stand in your own power. Okay, it's time for you to create and stand in your own spotlight. All right. Very, very strong, like I said, family dynamic around this. Okay. I'm getting there was, you guys, for whoever this is strongly resonating with, there was definitely a token child involved. All right. There was definitely a token child involved where there was some type of comparison made, and you were meant to kind of be the outcast or the black sheep of the family. All right. And as I say that, I look at how she's clothed in this black garment here. All right. Yes, but she's clothed in this black garment, but she has this very, very bright red flower garland on her head, which means that even still, she was meant to stand out. So even still, you were meant to stand out. Okay. There was just an overcast and an overshadow put around you because um, as I said earlier, first of all, whoever, and if they're not your biological parents, they could be foster parents or whoever was responsible for raising you. They were broken themselves. Okay, so maybe they seen things in you that was a reflection of them that they didn't like, and so this is what caused them to gravitate more towards the other child, right? And show more love and more appreciation for the other child because there were things in you that they seen that was a reflection of themselves that they didn't like. All right. So but I feel like for some of you, these people still exist around you and they still have the same behavior patterns towards you. All right. Still not expecting much from you. Okay. Still being hurtful. I'm getting hurtful in ways with their words. All right. And so now this is why it's important for you to realize this family dynamic and that it is a abnormal one. All right, you may have grew up like this, so you've become hypnotized by it, meaning you've become accepting to the behaviors, and so now it's time for you to break free from that energy and realizing that it is not normal. It was never normal. Okay, it has always been abnormal, and that you were boxed in. Okay, from a very early on age, you were boxed in, and now it's time for you to break free. Okay, break free from that energy and allow yourself to live in your truth by not playing dumb. Okay, calling things out. Okay, calling people out, calling situations out so that they can understand who you are now is based on you building yourself up to be who you are today. Okay, because it was never by the hands or the help of them. All right. And so now let's pull some tarot to get some additional confirmation. So thank you, beautiful, beloved Mother Goddess Isis. What additional messages do you have for pal number one around this? Yeah, but now it is definitely time to water and nurture yourself. Okay, it is time for you to create and stand in your own spotlight and realize and just take a look and realize at everything that you've done up to this point, and being proud of that and acknowledging that yes, you are deserving of those things. Okay, you are deserving of those things, even though there's this subconscious part of you that tells you that you're not. All right, look at this. We have strength. Yes, overcoming the obstacles, and you still have it in you to stand up for yourself and to continue to overcome them, right? This is you standing in your power with this strength coming up. This is, I'm also getting what's coming through. This is you reclaiming your power, all right? The high priestess here. Yes, things coming to light, things being revealed, all right? The high priestess is all about stepping into your knowing. Okay, stepping into your knowing. Okay, stepping out of that playing dumb shadow. Okay, stepping into and owning up to your true potential. Okay, your knowing. Also, I'm getting with this high priestess is things being unveiled. Okay, things being unveiled. We have the chariot, three major arcana so far. Yes, and the chariot is very significant to moving away from energy, like how you're being asked to, moving away, breaking free from that energy, right? And so this is you moving forward. All right, this is you taking the initiative to move forward. And I'm also getting that once you break free from the energy, because the chariot is also being able to move forward with obstacles that's on your path being clear, right? So you have a straight view, you have a straight shot. So I'm getting that when you break free and you bring things to the light, okay, around whatever this situation was for you, when you unveil these things, it's gonna feel like a big sigh of relief and release for you. Okay, it's gonna be like a big sigh of relief and release for you. Okay, and you're gonna be able to move forward with your life. Okay, you'll be able to move forward with your life. Look at this. We have the Queen of Wands. Yes, standing in your power. All right, standing in your power. Just really learning to love and appreciate who you have become. All right, this is what you're being called to do. Love and appreciate who you have become. Okay, and bringing passion back into your life. I'm looking at the reds here. All right, bringing passion back into your life and just being, I'm getting being proud of who you are. Okay, that you have overcome, that you have beat the odds, right? That you have overcome obstacles. All right, that you have been able to um, manifest. Okay, you were able to manifest, okay, the things that you have right now through pure determination, through pure willingness to learn, to grow, to adapt, right? And so you're being called to understand and work with this type of energy rather than having that lingering energy that I feel like has been with you subconsciously from your childhood experiences. All right, so that is all I have for you, my lovely pal number one. Really hope you enjoyed. If so, please be sure to hit the like button, like, share, subscribe, and also leave a comment if you feel like this reading has resonated with you. Okay? And until next time, my loves, take care and bye bye. Hello to those of you who chose pal number two. And so this is the image that you all chose. All right. And so now we're going to jump right into the reading and see what are your subconscious blockages. All right. So I've already pre-pulled the oracle. We'll start with those and then we'll read some tarot a little bit towards the end. Okay. And so the first card you have is, how do I handle change and what resistance do I have to it? All right. How do I handle change and what resistance do I have to it? All right. So the first thing that came through was someone who is stuck in their ways. All right. Someone who is stuck in their ways, who likes things to be a certain way. All right. And who likes consistency. All right. And it's like this because of um, this is part of your comfort zone. All right. So this is why you may be, okay, so I'm getting stubborn energy, right? There's a lot of stubborn energy around this. You might be reluctant and resistant to adapt or to change because you don't like to be pulled from your comfort zone. Okay, so also what's coming through is that there has been a lot of missed opportunities because of this. All right. There's also some emotional wound tied to this, which is why this is working through you subconsciously. All right, there's an emotional wound tied to this, and so I'm also what's also coming through is separation. Okay, some of you may have experienced um, some form of separation where there was a divide or a split, okay, between parents at a young age, okay, and you may have been forced to live or move with one parent over the other, all right. And because it happened at such an early age, right, it was something that was an uncomfortable experience for you. Okay, you couldn't fully grasp onto the full understanding of what was happening then. All right, but what you may have noticed or known was it was something that you did not like. Okay, but you weren't able to fully grasp onto it as a child, as far as what was transpiring during that time. All right, but it has left an imprint on you emotionally and subconsciously to where you don't like change. Okay, you don't like things to switch up, you like to stay in your comfort zone. All right, and this could also stem from in regards to that separation, for those of you who that resonates with, right? Maybe you came from a two-parent household, where things was good at some point. There were some happy memories, some happy things that you could remember about that, right? So it was like your safe place in your comfort zone in that environment. But when the separation occurred, things shifted, right? Things changed. All right. So it could not have been, or it would not have been what you were used to. Okay. And so that kind of changed your trajectory on change. All right. It changed your trajectory on change. All right. So you're someone who prefers that if it's not broke, then don't try to fix it. Right. So you have, I feel like there's the stubborn energy around that, where you're less willing to think outside or look outside the box, because you're more comfortable with staying in situations as you feel, as long as they're not harmful or I'm even getting detrimental to you, right? If it's not broke, then don't try to fix it. Um, so yeah, I do feel like you not being able to handle change, as far as however that looks for you, is because of this is a subconscious blockage reading, so it is a subconscious wounding, okay, and it has an emotional tie to it, and that now it just may be time for you to really think about, right? So maybe you never thought that that situation, um, doesn't necessarily have to be that particular situation with the separation, but whatever situation may have occurred for you or to you, early at an early age, it may be time for you to look at that situation now and be like, oh, I hardly even knew that had an effect on me, but I guess I did, and kind of look at it from that angle so that you can address, acknowledge, and release it. Okay. Um, and you can see how that's affecting your life in this present moment. All right. And then there you guys have a vicious cycle. And it says you feel stuck in a pattern that you can't escape. Okay. And it says change one thing at a time until everything shifts. All right. So I love how it's saying, okay, both of these cards are acknowledging change, right? So this one is asking you um, to pay attention to how do you handle change, and this one is calling for you to actually participate in the change. All right. And so this is why you may feel that, I don't want to say, I feel like okay, so like the energy right now is like it's stuck, but I don't feel like, maybe you guys are stuck, right? You're stuck, but you don't know why you're stuck, right? And so and this is why it's going to be important for you to really look at the subconscious blockages that could be causing you to be in the same situations that you're in, right? And a lot of it has to do with you being afraid to step out of your comfort zone. All right. Your comfort zone is your happy place, right? And so you feel that, um, if there's no dire need to change anything, then why do it? But yet at the same time, you feel like you want better. So it's kind of like a very confusing type of energy, right? It's like a very confusing type energy. And that may be the type of energy that you yourself may feel like you're in, is that you're like in this very confusing type energy. It's like you want things to be a certain way, but yet you're not willing to put in the effort for the change, you know, the changes that needs to be done in order for you to bring it into existence, right? And so this is just like, as the card says, change one thing at a time. Okay, so start small. All right, start small with recognizing what things in your life you can take control over, as far as moving them in the right direction. All right. And then you guys have manipulative. Okay. And it says you are trying to control others in your life. Okay. And it says you are only driving them away. Let go and trust. And I feel like with this card coming up, I feel like this is you trying to get people to see things your way. Okay. So not necessarily bending or shifting. Okay. And that's so funny because that's actually what I'm doing in my chair right now. I'm trying to like shift into a comfortable position. So not actually like shifting um in a way to where you're like, okay, maybe it's me who needs to see things from a different angle or make, certain changes. There's like this sense of you like trying to get others to just view things your way, and why, it's okay, or how you're living your life, like how and why it's okay. But I don't feel like you even 100% feel like that. All right. I don't feel like that's 100% how you feel. I feel like you do want the change. You're just afraid of the change. But if you can convince others that there's no change needed, then everything's okay. If any of that I said just it makes any sense, okay? But this is why it's important for you to stand into that energy of seeing what things about yourself that can be changed in order for you to break out of patterns, okay? Break out of unwanted patterns, break out of unpleasant patterns or behaviors, okay? So that there can be room for growth. All right, is what's coming through, because there's a lack of growth, I feel like. But you guys need to find what it is, or what area of your life where the change can take place that will allow for the growth that you want to come in. All right, instead of trying to run away from that. All right, and I really feel like with the manipulative card coming up, this is you just trying to, I don't feel like it's necessarily control, but I get like a sense of just trying to get people to see things your way, okay, and trying to like paint this picture that things are all good even if they're not. All right. Okay, and then you are being presented with a choice. Okay, evolve or remain. Yes, and and I love the little image, right? On this card here, because it has like an image of someone. It looks like an elevator, right? So someone who is at an elevator, right? And this person may be afraid of elevators, right? This person may have this fear around getting on elevators, right? And so you have this choice to either stay here with this fear or evolve from it, right? Take that first step. And so this is you all like evolving beyond that fear of change, okay? Of stepping out of your comfort zone. Okay, so you can either work up the energy and the nerves to do this, or you can remain in the same cycles, right? You can remain in the same situations and continue to not see growth. All right, and so this is the choice you're being presented with. Okay, do you either remain here in denial about things, or do you take the necessary steps in order to move forward? okay, in order to grow, in order to evolve? All right, do you overcome your fears? Okay, or do you remain stuck? Okay, and so this is what you're being asked to do, is to acknowledge that. Okay, and then you can't change the way the cards are dealt, but you can change the way you play your hand. Yes. Yes, so this is you. This is, I feel like this energy is definitely calling for you all to really step it up. Okay, really step it up in a way to where you're no longer playing victim to your circumstances. Okay, so I feel like that's a part of what it is you all could possibly be playing victim to previous circumstances, right? And as the card says, you can't change, okay, the cards that were dealt to you, but you also don't have to stay stuck with the same hand, right? You can make some adjustments, you can make some quote unquote changes, right? And so this is definitely what you're being called to do, pal number two. Either evolve or remain, right? Or make the best out of what was dealt to you. All right, breaking vicious cycles, breaking this pattern of being stuck in the same situations that you may have experienced growing up, right? So it's up to you to break that cycle. Okay, whatever that vicious cycle looks like for you. All right, and stop manipulating, I'm getting manipulating yourself and others that things are fine the way that they are, because essentially I feel like you guys know that it's not. Okay, you're just resistant to the changes, the different changes that needs to take place in order for that growth to come through. All right, and then you guys have a volatile shadow. Okay, and it says explosive temper and easy to anger, moody, feels strongly, and overreacts. Okay, and it says before you spring into action, ask yourself, is your anger, ask yourself if your anger is a friend or an enemy. All right, and I feel like with this volatile shadow, I feel like it's because you guys are like um upset, okay, with yourself and with situations and circumstances. um and you may even be like, I feel like with this manipulative card here, you may even be like finger pointing as to why you're in certain situations and circumstances, but you're not looking at the overall picture here. What is that you have a choice to change. Okay, that has been the theme of this reading so far. You have the choice to change, to either evolve or remain, to change the way you play your hand. You have a choice in that, pound number two. Okay, but I feel like with this volatile shadow card coming up, as well as with the manipulative card being here, I feel like you someone who likes to blame other people for your problems, right? And you don't like to go within and take a look and see what things can you, quote unquote, again, change about yourself or about your situation or your circumstances. Okay, because things are not working out for you, how you want them to, okay, or how you maybe expected them to. It causes you to be like this moody person, or someone who's quick to anger, quick to temper, right? Because it's like you're not happy with yourself and your overall circumstances or situations, but at the same time, you're not making the necessary changes or taking the required steps in order to switch things up a bit. All right, and so this is why this is subconscious, right? I don't think all of it is subconscious for you, but I think what's subconscious for you is the rooted reason behind these behavior patterns. All right, these the rooted reasons is what's subconscious for you all. And I do feel like it's because like I was saying earlier, maybe you guys went through early childhood experiences where change wasn't reflected as a good thing. All right, change wasn't reflected as a good thing, and so you kind of strayed away from changing things if you don't feel like there's a dire need to do so. Okay, but at the same time, it's not like you're happy either. Right, as I said, it's like a confusing energy coming through. So it's like not happy, but not in a bad situation. So I'm kind of like stuck. I don't know what to do. So I'm gonna be moody. I'm gonna have a temper, and people upset me or say the wrong thing. Right. So it's just like this confusion type of energy around this. All right. And so now you have to understand that the ball is in your court. You either evolve or remain. You either change the way you play your hand or you remain in this energy. Okay. And and stop trying to get people to see things the way you see them, okay, in order to make yourself feel better about certain choices or certain situations, right? This is all about taking ownership, okay? And part of that ownership is for you to acknowledge why there's this energy around you that resists change, okay? That resists taking a risk, stepping out of your comfort zone, doing something different. Um, that's part of, what you need to address is looking at the reason behind that. All right. And so now let's go ahead and pull some tarot to get some additional messages around this. So thank you, beautiful, beloved Mother Goddess Isis. What additional messages do you have for pile number 2 around this? Yes, break the cycle. Pile number 2. Break the cycle. And the cycle could be, you're in the same boat, okay, in a boat or situation um, that the people, who you love the most could have been in. And so I'm getting like a family dynamic with that. Is you're kind of not allowing yourself to evolve just as they did it, right? And you're gonna look up in time, it's gonna be in the past and flown by, and you're gonna be like, okay, what did I do wrong, right? And so yes, 8 of Wands, yeah. I love this 8 of Wands coming up because this is like a push. So this is definitely the energy of telling you to expand and to take flight, right? To take flight. All right. This is what you guys are being called to do with this 8 of Wands showing up. Okay. The 8 of Wands is definitely movement. All right. Definitely movement that's just at full throttle speed, having this vision, and having this plan, this focus, and going where you need to go. So yes, this 8 of Wands coming up with that. With the rest of this energy, I feel like this is definitely calling for you to make the changes that you need to make in your life, okay, and to no longer be stuck. All right, because there was a stuck energy in this reading, but this 8 of Wands is pushing straight through that because that's what the 8 of Wands does, right? It moves through without any obstacles in its way, right? And so this is what you're being called to do, is to um, remove yourself from stuck energy, okay? Energy that's keeping you complacent. All right, keeping you complacent because you're afraid to step out of your comfort zone. All right. And then you have the fight. The 5 of Wands that just fell out here. Yes, and the 5 of Wands for me is like that petty card of like going back and forth with yourself. And I do feel like this is not only with yourself. I feel like in your case it is with others. Like there's just this energy of frustration. All right, the subtle energy of frustration that just causes a lot of unnecessary bickering, unnecessary tensions, a lot of unnecessary back and forths. All right, especially with this volatile shadow card coming here. And it's just because you just need to free yourself from this energy, pile number 2. All right, you definitely need to free yourself from this energy. Look at this, the Page of Swords. All right, and the Page of Swords is just gonna, especially gonna come through and just like have this clearer vision, right? And have this better focus, okay, around what's going on. And so this is what you're being called to do. Have this clearer vision, this clearer focus on how it is that you're going to execute, right? Have this clear vision and this clear focus on how it is that you are going to execute. All right, making the necessary changes, right? Being brave about it, right? With this Page of Swords here, um, and being willing to move forward. All right, being willing to move forward. All right, and I feel like with this Page of Swords here is it's giving off this very ambitious type energy, okay, where you're like, okay, I'm ready for this, right? Eight of Wands, Page of Swords, it's like this energy of like, I'm ready for this, okay, I'm ready to take ownership of my life at this moment, okay, and the necessary changes that needs to occur in order for me to get the things that I desire. Look at this as I'm saying that. Yes, the Ten of Pentacles coming up. All right. Yeah, so you taking ownership over the things that needs to occur in order for you to get the life that you desire. All right. And so this is what you are being asked, the energy you're being asked to step into. All right. Ten of Pentacles. I'm also getting very strong family foundation. And so I was picking up a little bit of a family dynamic here. So that could just stem from that. And also, I'm getting with the Ten of Pentacles is that you could be the one to break the cycle or break the patterns, okay, in your family lineage, okay, with this Ten of Pentacles showing up. And you also have the Vicious Cycles card here as well. So you could be the one who is going to paint a clear picture, break vicious cycles, um, be the one to take, leadership, ownership. All right, take the next move and do things a little bit differently than how you were used to, okay, or what you were exposed to while growing up. All right. So that is all I have for you, my lovely pal number two. Really hope you enjoy. Leave a comment below if you feel like this reading resonated with you. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, my loves, take care and bye bye. Hello to those of you who chose pal number three. And so this is the image that you chose. All right. And so we're going to get right into the reading and see what are your subconscious blockages. All right. So starting with the oracle, the first card you have is, what aspects of my image do I dislike? What can I do to love all of myself? All right. What aspects of my image do I dislike? And what can I do to love all of myself? All right. And so there was just like this little sad, somber energy that came through of someone who's not fully happy in their skin, right? And I don't feel like this is what you show the world. All right. I don't feel like that's just like how you carry yourself, but I do think it is, a way that you feel about yourself behind closed doors, right? Very judgmental about yourself, and more specifically, your appearance, your image, right? There may be different flaws about yourself that you're constantly pointing out, right? Like, why is my hair like this? Why are my eyes like this? Just like really nitpicking with yourself around your self image. Okay. And it causes you, doing so, pal number three, it causes you to not allow yourself, okay, to love yourself at full capacity. Right. And like, this is, and why I say Well, this is a subconscious blockage reading, right? And so this is why I say that I don't feel like you showcase this part of how you feel about yourself to the outside world. So to others, you may appear to be well put together, right? But there are things about yourself that you are really critical about behind closed doors, right? And so you're being asked to acknowledge what aspects are those, okay? How can you overcome having that aspect about yourself, right? How can you learn to appreciate and accept those things about you that you consider to be flaws, right? So this is what you're called to bring to the surface, is that um, it is crucial for you to love yourself as is, okay? And looking at what is it that you can do that can help you to love yourself as is, all right? Because these are subconscious blockages. I'm also okay. So what's coming through is that some of you could have been made fun of as a child, right? And so this is why these subconscious things or feelings about yourself are there. Okay, so you could have been someone who was picked on as a child, you know. For the most part, we all go through our little ugly duckling phase, right? And so maybe you're someone who never got past, some of the things that were said to you, okay, in childhood regarding your appearance. Maybe someone um, pointed out different things about you as a child, and those subconscious images stuck with you. Um, Throughout life, and that's like how the image that you've painted around yourself up to this point, even if you have evolved from that, right? Because obviously, things shift, change, especially appearance wise, from childhood even into adolescent periods and going into adult periods, right? But there's something that stuck with you, okay, that could have been pointed out um, as early as young child, or maybe even during your adolescent years, all right? And it kind of shaped this view of how, or shaped this image of how you view yourself, all right? And so you're being called to release that, okay? You're being called to release that. And it could be that those things don't even still apply, but because they have become a part of your subconscious system, it still occasionally makes its appearance, right? And so you're constantly pointing out these flaws about yourself. And so that's why it's important for you to release those images, release those feelings around whatever that is for you, so that you can begin to love yourself wholly. All right. And then we have in the dark, and it says, you are keeping yourself from knowing. All right. You have the answers. Let yourself remember. Right. Yeah. So in the dark, and this is just like how I was just saying, some of you do things like behind closed doors, these different aspects or views that you have around yourself. It's not done openly. Right. But this is also, not only keeping others in the dark, but keeping yourself in the dark as well, by not acknowledging, okay, where this stems from. All right, you are keeping yourself from knowing. All right, so you may just have accepted, these things or this view that you have of yourself, um, without fully acknowledging, where it stemmed from. Okay. Because maybe you don't want to know where it stems from, or maybe you do want to know, maybe you do know where it stems from, you just don't want to acknowledge it, so you rather just deal with um, the day in day out criticism that you know put on yourself. All right, and so this is why the card says you have the answers. Let yourself remember. Doing so is going to help you to release. All right, when you can remember where these things stemmed from, this is part of your release. All right. So it's like bringing things to the forefront, bringing things to the light, okay, so that they can be released. All right. And so you also have out of sync. And it says you feel like you can't keep up with all the changes. Okay, take a breath and do only what must be done. All right. And so this is you. Maybe you're someone who likes, especially appearance wise, maybe you're someone who likes to keep up, right? You like to keep up with what's going on with the trends, or with, especially like appearance trends, right? Because it makes you feel better if you could cover up the internal scars with the outward appearance, right? And so this goes back to where I was saying, where like I don't feel like you put on how you truly feel. I don't feel like you showcase that outwardly, right? Um, to the outside world. But this is definitely what is, keeping you out of sync with your inside world, right? It's keeping you out of sync with your inside world because you're more so in tune with the outer appearance. Okay. But I feel like it's starting to catch up with you, with the fact that the card says you feel like you can't keep up. I feel like you feel like in the dark, right? You feel in the dark. You know that even though you appear to be okay outwardly, that's not a reflection of the internal, right? And so now, as the card says, take a deep breath and do what must be done now, and that is to love yourself authentically for who you are, okay, outwardly and inwardly. Okay, so I'm getting like a wounded heart, like something needs to be patched up. All right, so you need to patch up and remember those things that created this cause for you to have this self-image around and about yourself. Okay, otherwise you're going to continue to be out of sync and out of flow. Um, if you're not allowing yourself to embrace all of you 100%, right? Because you can only keep up with the outwardly appearance and the outwardly approach for so long, before you realize that it's time to move things inward. Okay, and this may be where you're at now with this out of sync card, is realizing that you need to focus more within. Okay, you need to focus more within and acknowledging the things about yourself that you dislike, and how is it that you can heal that wound. Okay, heal from the wound that may have created that self-perception. Okay, heal the wound that caused you to have this self perception about yourself in this way. Okay, and this is why you're being called to go inside. Okay, and to stop focusing on the outwardly things as being cover up to the true nature of your feelings. All right. And then you have your soul knows when it's time to close a chapter. Pain comes from ignoring its guidance, right? And so yes, this is exactly what I was saying. When it's time for you to move inward, when it's time for you to move inward, all right. Um, that's when you fully get to acknowledge, release, and let go. All right, and no longer hide, what the thing is that has been in the dark. Okay, the thing that has been lingering, around this self perception or self image. All right, your soul knows when it's time for you to really switch it up. All right, and this is why things may be feeling out of sync for you, is because it's time for you to really switch things up. All right, because if not, then you just keep yourself in that pain, you keep yourself in this energy of not loving and accepting yourself for who you are. But now it's time for you to grow from those things that has been kept in the dark, rather than being restrained by them. Okay. And then you also have, is it really about you, or is someone else using you as the wall for their projections? All right. And yeah, so this just goes back to what I was saying, like, um, how, people could have, like, even in your age, early childhood or adolescent years, or even young adult, like, people could have said like mean and nasty things to you, okay, and regarding your appearance or your self-image. And with this card coming up, it can even be people who reflect those type of projections at the present, okay. But either way, it is to say that those people were only um, doing or saying those things to cover up how they truly felt about themselves. And unfortunately, their views and opinions about you stuck with you and has been a hindrance for your own self love and acceptance. Okay. And so part of you going inward is going for you to acknowledge and understand that. Okay. So you understand it was never really about you. Okay. It was about other people's own insecurities, other people's own self love issues or self acceptance issues, right? It was them projecting their own hate of self outwardly because they, didn't know how else to make themselves feel better. And so once you begin to realize that, right, you can start to get back in sync with your own vibration and your own energy and accept yourself for who you are, okay, and realizing that things that may have been pointed out to you, it really had nothing to do with you. Okay, it really wasn't about you. It was just someone else projecting their own insecurities onto you. All right. And I do feel this energy of even in the present moment. Okay. So for some of you, definitely, this can definitely stem back to early childhood periods or later. But for some of you, this is like even in the present. Like some of you are not really loving on yourself as you should because of other people's projections. Okay. And so when you realize that those other people's projections are uh, um, just as the word is itself, a projection based on how they feel about themselves, then you're able to dismiss yourself from their energy. Okay, and step into your own energy, step into the light, get out of the dark, become more in sync with yourself so that you can move on to the next chapter of loving yourself. All right, and so that's going to be important for you. Okay, it's for you to realize, okay, come to terms with these things so that you can love yourself more. Okay. And the things that you dislike about yourself or the flaws that you dislike about yourself, begin to accept them. Okay. Begin to recognize that they are a part of who you are. Okay. And you wouldn't be you without them. All right. So there's just this whole new perspective that needs to be gained around image. Okay. Around self image. Okay. Not that you are, like I say, showcasing this to the outer world, but it is something that is done behind closed doors, and you need to come to terms with those things so that you can learn and accept yourself wholly and fully. All right. And then you guys have thoughtless shadow. Okay. And it says, don't consider the possible consequences, inconsiderate, insensitive, unmindful. All right. And it says, think about the impact of your actions, and everything you touch will prosper. It is your life, not your world. All right. And so what comes through with this is that you could be someone who now projects. All right. Because you have been a victim of it for so long, or it has just been a part of your subconscious for so long that you don't even realize when you're projecting yourself. Okay. Hence the word thoughtless, right? You don't even think or realize when you may be projecting yourself. Okay. And so this is why self love is important. All right. Self love is very important because then you don't have to worry about, downing or belittling others just to make yourself feel better. Right. And so this is, also I'm getting this is tied with the out of sync card, where, you're realizing that it's taking too much energy to do this, all right, to put forward this outwardly appearance that everything is okay, or to, I'm getting like um mean girl vibes, right, where you're like, um you know attuning to other people's behaviors because you feel like, that's what make you fit in, okay. And so now it's time for you to really be mindful, okay, be mindful of the energy that you're putting out, and that also be mindful that you're not doing to others what was done to you, okay, subconsciously projecting, okay, subconsciously projecting because you may have been a victim of that yourself, okay. So think about the impact of your actions, okay. Learn to go inwardly and learn to love yourself wholly, okay, and so that you can focus on your life, okay, focus on what you have going for yourself rather than trying to focus on everything outside of that. All right. And so now let's pull some tarot, see what additional messages wants to come through. So thank you, beautiful, beloved Mother Goddess Isis. What additional messages do you have for pile number 3 in regards to their subconscious blockages? All right. Um, just it's time for like a new version of yourself. Pile number 3. It's time for you to definitely step out of the dark, to love yourself more. Um, to not I just got like bullying type energy, to not be in this energy of even putting others down to make yourself feel better. So I was getting a lot of that energy at the beginning, that this is what has been done to you, but now I'm picking up the energy that you could be someone who's also doing this now. And it could be because you were a victim of it, right? And so now that's your way of coping, all right? And so we have the 10 of Swords. Yes, that's your way of coping. Painful endings leads to new beginnings. So this is you letting go of that old version of yourself that's no longer serving you. Okay. 10 of Swords could also be a card of backstabbing and betrayal. And so this is why I was saying, like, you could have been the victim of um, other people's projections, or I'm also getting body shaming, so some of you may have went through that. And so this is for you to go within and let that old version of yourself pass by, so that you can live more in the present and more in the here and now with loving yourself. All right. And look at this. Yes, we have the Page of Cups. All right. Emotional healing. All right. I feel like there's a lot of emotional healing around this, for you all. All right. And I'm really getting this energy now that a lot of you guys are projectors yourself. Okay. A lot of you guys are projectors yourself. And it's because you're not fully loving yourself, right? So you're mirroring, how you truly feel about yourself onto other people, all right, which is not healthy. So just be mindful of that. 7 of Wands. All right, so this is you, taking a stand, all right, taking a stand against um, all of the things that has been coming your way, okay, that has been making you doubt yourself, so that has been making you view yourself in this certain image or in a certain light, right? Taking a stance against that and saying, no, I am better. I do deserve better. And look, we have the Queen of Wands. All right. And the Queen of Wands is definitely someone who's going to show up as confident. All right. Confidence is key. Okay, confidence is key to loving yourself. Pile number 3. Confidence is key to loving yourself. And this is what the Queen of Wands showing up is representing. Okay, no longer taking other people's views, thoughts, opinions. Okay, anything that is going to be a deterrent to you loving yourself, taking a stance against that, blocking it away, defending okay, yourself in a way to where you're recognizing your self-worth, your self-love, your self-beauty, where you're recognizing all of these things about yourself, um, and blocking other people's projections from, making it to you, but also at the same time being mindful of not projecting yourself, okay? Because that's what's going to cause you to be out of sync and out of balance with the divine flow of the loving and nurturing, that is meant for you in order for you to thrive fully. All right. So just letting go of the painful things that has caused you to have this distorted image of view of yourself, learning to emotionally love and accept yourself, standing up for yourself, and also standing in your truth and in your power. All right. This is what you're being called to do, pal. Number 3 is to live in your own truth, your own power. Learn to love yourself all over again. All right. It's what's coming through. Um, I do have a video up actually, the weekly healing message, healing with Goddess Isis message. And that reading was actually about loving yourself. All right. And that's what this is, especially what I feel like this pal is being called to do. So you may want to check out that reading. I do feel like that's a good synchronicity to the messages that has come through in this particular one. So if you feel called to, I still have the video up until the end of the week. So if you feel called to it, also check that reading out as well. All right, my lovely pal number 3, that is all I have for you today. Really hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment below if you feel like this reading resonated with you. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, my loves, take care and bye-bye.